So TuffAnt, the company which started out making wheels for Land Rovers and has now morphed into general Land Rover 4x4 accessories, has run a photo competition and they have asked me to judge it. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. Now, they haven't paid me for anything, there's no commercial stuff, it's just an interesting project that I thought I would do and make a video out of it. Now, whilst I'm at it, I'm also going to throw in some photography tips because aside from making videos, I have worked as a commercial photographer. I've taught photography, I've got many different cover shoots, I've done all the photography for my own books and magazine articles, and I've done commercial four-wheel drive product shoots as well. So I'm going to throw some of those ideas in. But one of the things that I say when I teach photography is there is no right answer to photography, and the definition of a good photograph is one you like. So when I give you some examples in this, I'm not going to say this is right, this is wrong. I'm going to say here's an idea, you choose what you want to do with it. Okay, now I have to have criteria for judging, and they said, well, look, be whatever you want. So I've come up with 3 criteria. One is it's got to show the TuffAnt wheel advantage. I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. The second one is it's got to show to me what seems to be four-wheel drive off-road adventure. And the third one is I've got to look at it and go, wow, that's inspirational, that's exciting, I want to do something. So those are the 3 criteria which I have. Now, I want to talk about the reason why you need high profile as opposed to low profile tyres, and I've got a whole video on this, so please watch that and you'll see why low profiles are evil for off-road and even for a lot of other driving as well. But it's summarised in one photograph here. This is a Range Rover Sport. It's running 20-inch rims. Now the Range Sport of that era had slightly smaller diameter wheels than the Discovery 3, and the current L663 Defender's got actually slightly taller tyres, but you can see the problem here. These are 20-inch wheels, and it's the road pressure. It's going over a fairly innocuous rock, and just look how crushed that tyre is. What's going to happen there is the carcass is going to get crushed, potentially damaged, and there's also very little protecting that wheel from damage. So you can't really air that tyre down, and that becomes a problem apart from the fact it's heavier, etc. So that's the issue, and that's why I do like the TuffAnt wheels, because they allow you to run higher profile and start to get rid of this problem. Okay, now I do have to pick a winner. There will be some suggestions, but I'm going to start off with what sort of shots wouldn't work on this. And here's what we call a pan shot. And this bit of history here, this was the first ever photograph, or first ever photo shoot of the ARB Discovery 3 bar, which was under secret at the moment. So I was the very first journalist to go into the story with ARB as to how they created the bull bar for the Discovery 3. And at the time Discovery 3 came out, no one was really interested in it. Once people started to use it off-road, aftermarket started to get behind it, and now there's a lot of accessories for the Discovery 3 and for the 4, but less so for the 5, but that's where TuffAnt is making things right. Now this won't work to show off wheels because, as you can see, the wheels are blurred, so you can't really see the wheels. So it's a great sort of shot, but not one that can really work effectively. And this is what we call a tracking shot, which is when we do shoot vehicle to vehicle. Same sort of thing here. You can see the wheels are a complete blur, so whilst I quite like the shot, and this is my old Discovery by the way, it won't work for showing off the wheels because you can't really see what the wheels are. And this one again, the vehicle's too small to be able to see what the wheels are. Also, it's coming face on as well. So again, I like this shot, it's a good shot, but that sort of shot isn't going to work for demonstrating the wheels. Okay, so let's go through the 12 finalists in reverse order then, and we're going to start with this one. Someone has to come last, and it's this one. Now, the first thing that jumped out at me was the fact that it's not on the correct side of the road, straddling the line, so that just was a complete turn off for me, and I thought, nah, can't be doing that. Secondly, where's the adventure? Where is the sense of getting out there? Well, it's on a bitumen road. You could put a Ferrari on that road. It doesn't really say much to me. So given the other 11 that I had to look at, I had to place this one last. Now, if you do want to do a bitumen road shot, you can, and this one doesn't show the wheels, but this shows a remote outback location, and to get this shot I used a 100 to 400 lens. I stood at the side of the road, sent the car all the way back, brought it all the way forwards, and zoomed in, and that has elongated that bit of road there, as you can see. So that starts to give it a sense of remoteness, but it's not real true 4x4. I shot this one as part of a fatigue driving article I was writing. Okay, number 11, we have here a beautifully exposed and framed Discovery, but it's just not that exciting to me. The road is nothing special. You could drive pretty much anything along that. And it's a bit frustrating because I kind of look at this background and go, oh, wow, that's probably some really good, amazing scenery there, but I just can't see it. So, yeah, it doesn't really work for me. Now, give you an example of how it might work. Here's another discovery. In the Cathedral Ranges in Victoria in Australia, there's an impressive bit of rock. There's the car, and again, we're not showing the wheels because I was never shooting any of these to show the wheels, but I could have done. That starts to say, okay, look, there's some scenery. It gives you a sense of where things are at. And also, when you're shooting, always take one landscape, one portrait like this and one landscape, and then you can potentially crop them or turn them, whatever else there, but you've got to have two, and that's particularly important back in the days of magazine shooting because you never know what the graphic designer wanted. So that sort of gives a sense of the mountain range there, and the vehicle's still pretty big in the shot. Now, number 10, here we have a Discovery 5 at Uluru, and there's just not a lot going on here for me. Yeah, Uluru's great and that's fantastic, but it's not the best shot of Uluru. You can't really see it, and also there's no real sense of adventure. I mean, we've got a fence, we've got a clearly defined parking space here, we've got bitumen. It's not really outbacky, and also, and we're going to come to this a few times, there's this massive sky here which is doing absolutely nothing. So here's a technique. We crop it. And I think, to me, this instantly makes the shot better because the car's bigger, Uluru is bigger, and we've lost the sky, but so what? The sky wasn't doing anything for us in this shot, at least not to my eye. Of course, this is photography. You can disagree all you like. I'm just giving you some ideas. So I think this has been improved. You could potentially crop even further. You don't need to have the whole car in it here. And now if we got rid of this, that might be starting to get a little bit more outbacky, a little bit more adventurous, and we don't have all of Uluru. And you play around. Whenever you take one shot, make sure you take several, but not all from the same position. Get down, get up, climb a tree, and I kid you not, climb a tree, climb whatever you can, lie on the ground. Off-road photographer is fit and dirty. All right, now we come to this one, which is a video, and yeah, it doesn't really show the wheels, but also it shows the car, then it shows the waterfall. And I'm crying out for it to kind of use both. So yeah, there's the car, great. It's not really off-road or remote or anything. Again, it's a fairly standard track. We pan over to here, and it is a fantastic waterfall, don't get me wrong. It looks, and I'm sure it would sound spectacular, but yeah, and it's also overexposed at the end here. You can't really see the definition of the water, all sort of becomes one. So that doesn't really do it for me. Now, here's an example from my own archives. So I sent the car over the bridge, and I was talking to the driver on the radio, got it exactly there, set up with a tripod and did a slow shutter speed on an overcast day, or alternatively use a filter to cut down the amount of light. And I did this slow shot here, as you can see. So that's an example of where that sort of thing can work. And you know, the inspiration I got from that video was for me to want to go there and do a better shot, not to actually, I guess, be there for any other reason, because I feel that waterfall could have been really amazing, and just to get the car stopped over the bridge with that in the background would have been pretty cool. Now, another video coming in at number 8 here, and we are driving through some canyons, which amazing photographic opportunities, these things over here, and I just like the way that the video winds through here and there, but I just kind of don't feel enough has been done with this to make it really exciting. I don't really see where we're going anywhere. It's not sort of coming, we're not sort of going from this massive green expanse of land into it or out of it or something like that. It's just basically a drive around, and I feel that some of the detail could have been brought out here, or maybe place the camera down and have it angled up a bit. I don't know, it's okay, but it's just not really doing a huge amount for me. Now, here's 2 examples from my archives. This is in Mongolia. I went there as a guest of Land Rover on the G4 Challenge, and I shot lots of photographs actually, but this just shows a huge amount of rock. You're sort of right next to a rock which goes up. You don't often see that. And this one I took because the Discovery's going through a narrow gap, and you've got this light area here and this sort of dark area there as well. So I think that's the sort of stuff to sort of really bring it out. Okay, number 7 now. And this one I looked at and I thought, oh yeah, we really got to crop this, because again, that blue sky is not doing a lot for me at all. And then I did a crop, and this is what I found. And once I did that, I thought, oh yeah, look, there's actually some water here. I didn't even notice that, because once you crop, then you start to in effect zoom in a bit. But there's a whole bunch of ground here which is not really doing a lot for us. So if we get rid of that, yeah, look, now I really like this photograph, because we see the wheel brought out there. The car's a little bit dirty. It looks like it's been on an adventure. And, you know, we get to see the majestic, beautiful detail in the rock here and the water. And I feel if that shot was taken at that sort of composition and a little bit of work was done to bring out some of the detail here, this would be an amazing shot. It might even have one, for example. So, and I do like the colour of the blue as well. It actually goes nicely with the sky. Now here's an example from my own archives in Morocco. If you've got a background, here's some of the things you can do with it. A good thing to do is generally find whatever you're looking at, walk away from the car, zoom in, and that way you tend to get a large car with the background as well. And that's an example of those two pillars there. Shooting against the sun, which is what that can also work. This is also in Morocco in the Saharan desert. This was set up at, well, obviously at sunset there, but I was waiting for about half an hour and had everything set up, and you've probably got 2 or 3 minutes when the sun's in exactly the right place to get my father as it is in the driver's seat there to set up and go. So, you know, a lot of photography is controlling your environment as best as you can. This one is number 6, and it's clearly been heavily edited in an image editor, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And I kind of like the simplicity of it and everything and the sky, but there's a big problem which just ruins it for me. And look at this sky, it's all very dramatic up here, but around this area here around the car, it's less, and I feel that's because the image editing wasn't quite as thorough as it perhaps could be, and the brush used was too large. You can see it's almost like a halo around the car, and you know, I know what that is, that the brush size was too large. That would have been better, yeah, I liked the composition of this, I liked the effort and everything else like that. That ruined it for me, and also I wanted something probably a bit more natural, which is why it's number 6 and no further up. Now here's another shot. We've got, and I like this sort of campsite-y shots. I think they can be pretty cool, but to me there's just a little bit too much going on. There's a can of some description, there's a bit of a tent, there's shoes, and again there's a whole lot of sky, and I don't think the sky's adding that much value in this particular shot, but again this is my opinion. So I cropped it, I got rid of that stuff, and I just made the car and made it a bit simpler. To my eye, I feel that is a better shot, but again obviously you can disagree there. I do kind of like this shot now it's cropped. And here's an example from, again, my own archives. I was testing both the tent and I was testing the Range Rover Sport, so I just shot both at the same time, because why not? And that's just a random step over in a forest. Not many people take a brand new Range Rover and drive it randomly into a forest and camp, but I did and tested both units. There's an example of focusing on one detail with other things in the background. This was in Morocco again, massively muddy wing mirror, I think on a Defender by the looks of things, with a Discovery in the background. Now this shot again might even be the same car actually, I'm not sure, but looks great, but a lot of blue there going on, so why don't we try that crop trick? And I think that now starts to really work. You can, let's just go back so you can see, there to there to there to there and back again. So now the car just leaps out of the photograph. We can really see the wheel very, very well indeed, but also we get to enjoy the detail of the rock. You can't really see the detail of the rock over here. Here you can see those striations, and you know, if I had a tame geologist be able to explain exactly how all of this is formed over here, but you can just see so much more detail. And what have we lost? We've just lost an expanse of blue. You know, I'm going to trade that blue for this lovely detail and just having the car pop out. So that's my view of these things. Now, you don't always have to do that. So here's an example where I haven't done that. I've left quite a bit of sky in there, quite a lot of water in this one. Sorry, this one isn't a Land Rover, but I kind of feel that works because we've got the 3 layers here with the car in the middle. Again, photography is artistic. There is no wrong or right. All I'm doing is throwing ideas out. Here's another one where I've left quite a lot of sky in, but I've done that because this is in Canberra, Parliament House, capital of Australia, because we need the flag in there, and I've just popped the Discovery there as well. It's a nighttime shot with a long exposure. Now we get into bronze medalist number 3, this Discovery. Now I like this because it's beautifully It's a beautifully simple shot, it's well exposed. I kind of like the person in the passenger seat who's taking a photograph there as well. Sometimes you want to colour coordinate. I have told people to change their clothes for a vehicle photo shoot. This is a red hat which doesn't go with the car. That might work or it might not work, who's to know. If I was doing a pro shoot on this, I'd have the hat on, I'd have the hat off, and maybe several different types of hat. That's the sort of detail you've got to go to here. Yeah, I like this shot, but again, I'm left kind of feeling, oh my god, look at those beautiful background. I want to see more of that background. If I see more of the background and we can get the car easily visible, to me that's a better shot than just having the car. Now there's a couple of techniques we can do here. We can cut out the car against the sky, and that could have been done with this shot. It's almost been done, but not quite around here. Here I've done it to a greater degree with a Jaguar F-Pace, which I was driving in the desert, and by the way, the Jaguar F-Pace goes really well on sand. You switch the DSC off and it's a pretty impressive sand driving machine. Not that you see a lot of them traversing the desert, but this one did when I had it on test. But you can see I've cut it out here. Now the way I did that was park it at the top of a dune, walk down, use a long lens, and then it's cut out against the background. Now if you want to show the scenery, there's many ways to do that. Essentially you walk back and then do a little bit of a zoom in. You can see that my discovery here, it gets a context of where the car is, and I think that's important. If you want to set a sense of adventure, you can't just say here's the car. You can see the sea, you can see that peninsula, you can see this bay, you can get a sense where it is, yet we can see the car's wheels, we can see the car, and yeah, there's a bit of sky just to balance things out. And same sort of thing back to Morocco here. We can see the car, you can see all of that there, and this is, by the way, not a good time for photography. This was on a trip, I couldn't really stop. A lot of this was just stopping, running up out of the hill, grabbing the photo, jumping back in the car and saying go, 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 so we could catch up with the rest of the convoy. But as a photographer, you're sort of driving around, and you've got to have this mental drone in your mind, looking backwards, forwards, and thinking, okay, there's the shot. And when you get the shot, you leap out, you run up the hill, down the hill, up a tree, whatever it is, you grab it, you come back, and then off you go. Because this lighting is not ideal, but if the lighting was good for that, this would have been amazing. But wheels clearly visible here, and a context of where the car is. And here's another context shot. Simpson Desert, my old Defender up top of some dune called Big Red. Again, you can get a sense of expansion here, and that's why I left quite a bit of sky in as well. And if you want to cut it out, again, you just walk down the dune, make sure it's cut out, and then again, you know, we've got the car silhouetted there. That in itself can be a good shot as well. Again, no wrong or right answers. This is in Mongolia, back with the G4 Challenge. Exactly the same. The convoy didn't stop. I just said catch up to those guys. I got out, I sprinted up the hill, I cracked out this photograph, I sprinted back down the hill, I leapt into the car and it went off, and these guys had, and I saw this shot coming up from a few hundred meters back, and I said catch up. So I was planning it from 2 minutes back when I saw that side there. I saw this, I saw that, and I thought, okay, these guys are going to be coming down here at that point. That is how it has to work. You literally have to have a drone in your mind figuring out these shots, and you sort of execute them before you in your mind before you get there, and then off you go. So I didn't even know that I'd taken this shot as that quick. Now we come to number 2, and I like this shot a lot, which is obviously why it's the second one, right? Girl on top of the car looking at this, but I do feel it can be improved a bit, because I didn't immediately notice what that was, and sometimes that can be good. You know, sometimes the more you look at a photograph, the more detail you get, but I feel that for what we're looking at here, you kind of want an immediate response, as opposed to looking at it, because that didn't jump, the sort of snow-capped mountain didn't jump out to me as much. Also, we've got this camp chair over here. Now professionally I would go, look, either it's in the shot, it's adding value, or it's out, and generally you want to take something out and simplify the shot as opposed to complicate it. So I would move that out. Now I recognize these aren't professional shots and they're not meant to be, etc. Also, if I was shooting for TuffAnt, I would have the wheel slightly turned left a little bit, and that way we could see more of the wheel. Anyway, can we do the crop thing here? Yes, we can. So we can crop in. You don't have to have the entire car in the shot. Now it's more obvious what she's looking at. We can still see the wheel here and here. We don't really need to see that wheel, and to me that's just a better shot. What I would do again is probably get as far back as possible. I suspect that wasn't possible in this particular photograph. So, you know, you work with what you can, but I really like the idea of this shot and the composition, which is why it is number 2. I feel that a little bit more work could have made it an even better shot and potentially a winner. And if we crop in even further, here's another option. Potentially you could have had someone down here looking at it and the wheel slightly turned. That could have been another option. So again, if I was shooting professionally, I would have someone there as well as on the roof rack, and then you get 7 or 8. Because remember, one of the things about photography, you will only get one chance to take that photograph in your entire life. The next time you come back, it will be different. And it's digital, so take many, but don't take from the same angle. Change the exposure, change the aperture, change those settings, go up, go down, zoom in, zoom out, play around, and then that's how you learn from photography. Okay, and now we come to the winner. Now this was the only shot out of the 12 which made me go, wow, that is cool. It is also the only shot I couldn't think of any improvements for, and because it showed to me what the purpose of high profile wheels is about. It also gave me a sense of adventure, and it made me go, wow, and I want to be there, and that's cool. So it hit all the 3 criteria for me better than any others, and it is this one over here. Now, why does this work for me? Well, it is a muddy, slippery road, so you're going to want to air down, and you can see that the owner has in fact aired down here. You can see that the wheels very, very clearly, even though they're muddy, which is great. It is an incredibly muddy car, but it's authentically muddy. It hasn't just been smashed through a mud bog because of the hell of it. It's got naturally muddy on this road. The car's big, and there's a sense of context to it. We can see behind us over here, that road there. It's not just the car by itself. If I cropped this, it wouldn't be as effective, because you need to see where the car is, what it's doing, get that sense of adventure. And this particular shot actually is hitting every single mark for me. So well done, a worthy winner, and I hope you enjoy the prize. So I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions or comments, please use that comment section, and thank you for watching.